Joining us live is Jonathan Peled, Interim Ambassador of the Embassy of Israel in Australia. Jonathan, what are the terms of the ceasefire? Can you outline them for us?
Good morning, Gabriela. Well, yes, as you heard, the agreement is a non-conditional agreement, the only condition being peace and quiet. And that's what we need to ensure now, that Hamas does not rebuild and restart another wave of rockets against Israeli citizens.
Can you give us a sense of how tense and complicated these talks were and why it took 11 days to achieve?
Well, obviously, we didn't start with this, and we had to take all necessary measures reluctantly to defend our population. More than 4,000 rockets were fired at us indiscriminately, trying to hit as many civilians on our side as possible. The reason it took so long is we needed to make sure that we degrade Hamas's capabilities and put an end to this so that Israeli citizens can sleep quietly and not run to bomb shelters again. And so we very much hope that this ceasefire is not just a band-aid, but a long-standing, sustainable, quiet and peace for, let's hope, for many years.
Of course, let's hope so. But what specifically did Israel achieve here with the military operation, and how do you justify the civilian deaths that came with it?
It's very unfortunate. We've seen these harrowing scenes and pictures of what's going on both sides. Unfortunately, when you're confronting a terrorist organization that has no respect or regard for human life, who tries to inflict not only casualties and harm on Israel's side, but also on their own side, they've been shooting rockets at their own population, and they don't care. They've been hiding within very populated areas. They shoot rockets and missiles out of schools, hospitals, press towers, and that unfortunately causes harm and damage also to uninvolved. And of course, it's very, very tragic, and we regret any loss of life of those who are unharmed. But the call has to be addressed to a terrorist organization, as I said, that calls not only on the destruction of Israel, but calls for bloodshed and for terror.
One of the most fundamental grievances Hamas and Palestinians have is around the Israeli settler program, where essentially you have Israeli settlers taking the homes and territory from Palestinians. You can argue the legality of this program, but can you understand the anger that this creates amongst Palestinians that can lead to this sort of conflict?
There can be no justification or pretext for launching a total war and sending thousands of rockets towards civilian population. There are two narratives here. There's the Israeli narrative, there's the Palestinian narrative. We've been involved in negotiations and in peace talks with the Palestinians in the past. Only a few months ago, we signed the Abraham Accords with other Muslim and Arab neighbors and countries. So there definitely is proof that we can achieve peace and understanding and reconciliation with our neighbors. We just have to take out of this equation terrorist organizations that call only for destruction and bloodshed and do not represent in any way the Palestinian cause. They're harming their own cause.
We're hearing reports of a dire situation in Gaza with low medical and food supplies, difficulty in getting clean water. Can you guarantee that Israel will give unfettered access to aid groups and international organisations wishing to deliver this aid?
Absolutely. Israel has always upheld humanitarian assistance and let humanitarian assistance enter Gaza. Before this recent conflict flared up, all humanitarian, all food, all supplies are coming through from Israel. We supply the gas, the energy, the electricity to the Gaza Strip, and they're shooting the tree or the branch they're sitting on. So Israel, of course, is very, very aware of the humanitarian needs and will always uphold humanitarian relief and assistance to the people of Gaza. The people of Gaza are not our enemy. It's the Hamas who are our enemy, who are taking their own population as a hostage and causing all this unnecessary violence and tragic casualties on both sides.
Just finally, what needs to be done to ensure we're not in the same situation in 2 years' time?
First of all, really, that Hamas does not rearm, does not manage to stockpile rockets and missiles, and that the moderates on the Palestinian side, everywhere, are willing to sit down and negotiate. Unfortunately, as long as we have actors like Hamas, like Hezbollah, and other Palestinian terror organizations, we will not be able to resume peace talks. So I think it's a vested interest for all peace-seeking partners and actors to eliminate and take out of the equation these organizations and bring back the moderates and those who are willing to dialogue and to try and work again on peace and reconciliation. And as I said earlier, the proof is that it is possible. We've achieved it only recently, a few months ago, and we've done it in the past. There is no reason why peace and reconciliation cannot prevail in the Middle East.
Jonathan Peled, Interim Ambassador of the Embassy of Israel in Australia, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.